And you like Iwaizumi-san, right, Oikawa-san? I came here to say one thing, really. Don't be like me, Haba-chan. Holy shit, are you stalking me? By the way, Shigeru, I know. Haba almost sighs in relief. So, Takashi thinks he's stringing Kyoutani along. Wait, that's somehow worse. You busy? I kind of need to talk. Taro was helping my sister. What? For the first time, Haba falls a little out of love. Like, I ain't the most social guy, but even I know that it's fine means the opposite of what it's supposed to. Did I fuck up? They walk together in silence to their first period. Class passes relatively quietly. Haba is only called on once, and he manages to relax a little by focusing on the teacher's words, no matter how boring they might be. By the end of the period, Haba's thinking that everything will be fine, that he'll talk with Kyoutani calmly and find a way to deal with Takashi. He should have known nothing ever comes that easy. As he's packing up his things, someone speaks up from above him. Kyoutani, wanna chat? Takashi? Haba's heart rate picks up instinctively and he grips his papers tighter. Kyoutani's knee starts to bounce. No. If Haba's heart wasn't beating a mile a minute and anxiety didn't feel like it was dragging his features down, he might have smiled. And because Takashi's sole purpose is to make Haba suffer, he continues, egging him on. On man, I think you'll really want to hear it. He said no. Haba takes a deep breath, flexes his fingers in an attempt to relax them, and sits up, glaring at Takashi. His throat still feels like closing up, but he has to interrupt before this goes further. What the fuck do you want, Takashi? He spits, voice cracking embarrassingly on the word fuck. Takashi smirks and holds his hands up, eyes shifting lazily over to Haba's face. Just an innocent chat, like the one we had yesterday, he drops casually. Haba's blood runs cold. He hasn't even gotten a chance to tell Kyoutani about yesterday. Kyoutani glances at Haba, curiosity and something slightly more dangerous glinting in his narrow eyes. Follow me, he says after a long beat. Haba's confused for a second before he realizes that Kyoutani isn't speaking to him and was, instead, speaking to the last person Haba wants him to. Haba panics, barely choking out, wait no. Takashi chuckles mirthlessly, evidently enjoying the whole situation. Don't worry Haba, I won't tell any lies about you. Gritting his teeth, Haba starts to reply, but Kyoutani beats him to it. This better be quick. In a last-ditch effort, Haba tries again. Don't. His arm moves on its own, reaching out to grab at Kyoutani's something, a shirt, an arm, anything, but Kyoutani stands up too quick, the legs of his chair screeching against the floor. He walks past Haba silently and leads Takashi out of the room. Takashi winks back at Haba on his way out, and Haba suppresses the urge to shudder. Shit, what's he going to say? There isn't much that Takashi knows, so Haba doesn't know what to be afraid of, but Takashi talking to Kyoutani alone is enough to make his palms sweat. What if Kyoutani tells him about the plan? No, he wouldn't, right? Haba shakes his head at himself. He wouldn't do that to you. He's not like that. But then a different possibility hits him. Takashi is a master manipulator. He pushes Haba's buttons without even trying, and what if he knows Kyoutani's buttons too? What if he tells Kyoutani that Haba doesn't care about him? That he's just using him? Haba isn't using Kyoutani in the way that Takashi thinks, but it doesn't change the fact that he is using Kyoutani, and Haba knows Kyoutani. And Kyoutani would believe Takashi. Grabbing his bag off the floor, Haba practically leaps out of his seat and follows his fake boyfriend and greatest tormentor out the door. He exits the classroom just in time to see Kyoutani's head disappear around the corner of a less-used hall, and Haba follows it after waiting a few seconds to be safe. He waits for Kyoutani and Takashi to disappear into an empty classroom before pressing himself to the wall outside, praying the walls were thin enough to hear through. So, talk. Kyoutani's voice, definitely. Haba's unashamed to admit that he would recognize Kyoutani's voice even after it's been processed through a compressor and volume lowered to 5%. You sure are an unfriendly guy, Kyoutani. Haba would probably recognize Takashi's too, but for wildly different reasons. Kyoutani speaks again. You have 60 seconds. Alright, jeez. Even though you're such a rude guy, you still don't deserve what that Yohaba is doing to you, so. Takashi's false charisma disgusts Yohaba. Yohaba's used to charisma, what with being around Oikawa for much of his day, but Oikawa's charisma is genuine, or at least kind. Maybe it's why Yohaba recoils from Takashi so much. It's unnerving that one of his most admired people is so similar to his tormentor, yet different in such a pivotal way. 50. Yohaba's lips twitch at this. So Kyoutani. You know, Kyoutani, I just thought that you should know some of the truth that I found out about Yohaba. K. Yohaba smiles a little in relief, hand coming to rest at the base of his throat. There's nothing to worry about. What Takashi thought was the truth, Kyoutani already knew. Right? Well, I'm really sorry, sure you are. Yohaba snorts internally. But, he's only dating you for me. Wow, what a way to phrase it. Yohaba cringes. Even the thought is ridiculous. How could someone be so deluded? As if. Eat shit. At least Kyoutani seems completely unfazed. Nah, I'm serious. He doesn't actually care about you, you know, I mean, can you blame him? That causes red to tinge the edges of Yohaba's vision, and he thinks he might just commit murder today. At the same time, a tidal wave of concern starts to well up in Yohaba's heart. Don't believe him, please, don't believe him. Eat shit. Yohaba starts breathing. Thank God. Kyoutani, if you don't believe me, then just ask what happened yesterday. Sure. Yohaba bites his lip. He should have just told Kyoutani immediately. Ugh, why did he spend so long in his head? I knew you'd come around. The fuck did you do to him yesterday? Yohaba blinks. Wait. What? Takashi sounds smaller, and Yohaba relishes in it. Emma skin you, fucker. And don't bullshit me. There's a long beat of silence, and Yohaba struggles to process what he's hearing. Kyoutani's not blaming me? Takashi replies, at last. I just had an innocent chat with him, that's all. A loud thud vibrates through the wall that Yohaba has his ear pressed against, and he flinches. Holy shit, what's happening? Should I go inside? Oh my god, is Kyoutani actually? Whoa, calm down. Well, Takashi isn't crying in pain, so on second thought, Yohaba doesn't need to intervene. Don't go near him. What? Dude, I just told you that your alleged boyfriend doesn't even like you, what's your deal? Don't go near him. There's another stretch of silence, and Yohaba can practically picture the twisted look of surprise on Takashi's face as he reprocesses his twisted plan. It's oddly satisfying. Wow, Yohaba really struck gold with you. You're like his puppy guard dog. That's so cute. Takashi is either extremely stupid or extremely brave. But Yohaba already knew that. There's another thud, and Yohaba kind of hopes that Kyoutani actually hit Takashi this time. Fuck, you almost hit me, you crazy asshole. I'm gonna report you, I swear to. Almost? Yohaba sneers. Disappointing. Don't make me punch you. Even Yohaba can hear the I will attached to the end of that statement. Yohaba knows it's a bluff. On one of their trips to the animal shelter, Kyoutani had defensively confessed that he's never punched a soul, and that fights scare the shit out of him. Yohaba's heart had melted right there and then, but this moment transcends that, because here Kyoutani is, bluffing for his sake, being brave for his sake. Something that Yohaba just can't seem to do. Alright, fine, just fuck off. Takashi half whines, half growls. Yohaba has to give it to him, he's doing a fantastic job of holding his own. But maybe he's just a special brand of dumb. There's another thud, a yelp, before the door flies open. Yohaba has zero time to react as Kyoutani storms outside, slamming the door behind him. He turns, catching sight of Yohaba, who's still standing there frozen, and nearly jumps, eyes widening and losing their angry glare instantly. Why you? What are you eavesdropping? Yohaba blinks twice, opens his mouth, and decides against it, instead opting to grab Kyoutani's wrist and pull him far away from that classroom. Kyoutani follows rather amicably. Yohaba can feel his wrist trembling and his heart twists. Once they get back to their first period classroom, the two gather their things in silence and leave the room. Yohaba can't help but glance around for Takashi, hoping he isn't there. Yohaba is turning to leave, still not stable enough to say what he wants to, and not knowing what to do with the million emotions warring in his heart, when Kyoutani coughs. Hey, lunch. Yohaba nods from his position, still turned away from Kyoutani. Course. Then he walks out. As he sits through his second period, restlessness takes over his thoughts. He can't stop thinking about what Kyoutani has done for him, unable to believe it. It's straight out of a movie, and if Yuhaba was a brainless protagonist, he would be convinced that Kyoutani was his prince in armor, and that Takashi would never bother him again. But he's not, so he tells himself that this is nothing but a temporary fix, if a fix at all. Kyoutani's scare isn't going to last long, especially not when it's directed at someone as mindless as Takashi. That doesn't mean that it didn't turn the tables. The leap that Kyoutani has taken for him kicks Yuhaba into motion, releases the ball and chain from his ankle and sets him free. A fire's been lit, and Yuhaba burns to be brave himself, and do something about Takashi. He's done thinking that he deserves this, that it's not a big deal. He's done sitting still. Someone else believes that he doesn't deserve this. Someone else thinks it's a big enough deal to sacrifice their own comfort for. Someone else didn't stand still. Yuhaba doesn't know exactly what he's going to do, but he at least knows where to start. So as soon as the bell rings, he's out the door and down the hall to the administrator's office. Takashi has to go. It goes something like this. Hi there, how can I help you? Hey, I want to report a student who has been harassing me. I see. Please come in. What's your name? Yuhaba Shigeru. Well, Shigeru, I hope you feel safe telling me about this today. I want you to know that our students' safety is our priority. Nothing is too big or too small. So please, whenever you're ready. Okay. His name is... When Yuhaba walks out, eyes slightly red, head held high, he feels 100 pounds lighter. He's just making his way to lunch as the PA system beeps once, loud and jarring. Twice. Takashi Laomaya, please report to the principal's office. Immediately. Suspended. For 2 months. Watari mutters, looking like he's been clobbered with an anvil. He leans back against the tree that he, Yuhaba, and Kyoutani are sitting under, and lunchbox laying forlornly next to his knee and dangerously close to tipping over. Yuhaba nods, chewing on the tip of his fingernail as he eyes Watari. Yuhaba, dude. Why didn't you tell me that's why you fake dated Kyoutani? Watari jerks an accusing thumb at the man in question, who furrows his brows angrily. From his tense position, Kyoutani glares at the spot on the grass, fidgeting restlessly. Yuhaba glances at him worriedly. He wanted to talk to him earlier, but when Yuhaba got to their lunch spot, Watari had already been present, so he had to explain yesterday's events and the announcement to both second years at once. And Watari had a lot to say. In fact, he still isn't done, Yuhaba thinks to himself affectionately. Yuhaba, I would have reported the guy without a second thought. Watari continues to splutter into thin air. Shigeru, you're so stupid. Why would you? What? How did I not know you were being harassed? Watari's brow scrunches darkly at this, and Yuhaba scowls, knowing that the libero is beating himself up. Don't do that. It's not your fault. The libero curls his hands into fists anyways. Still, we're supposed to be best friends. Yuhaba pauses, trying to find the right words, but Kyoutani beats him to the punch and speaks up, surprising both of the other boys. It's not your fault that Yuhaba lies as a habit. Okay, but did he really have to go there? It's a joke, but there's just a smidge of something spiky in that jab, and Yuhaba frowns. What is he thinking? Sometimes, Kyoutani really is like a wild animal, because just when Yuhaba is starting to understand him, he shifts angles and Yuhaba returns to sitting squarely in square one. Watari just groans. Yuhaba. Yuhaba smiles wryly, shrugging a little. I played it off until I couldn't really. No longer. Watari makes an indignant noise. You went and got a fake boyfriend before you reported him. What sort of logical person does that? Yuhaba actually has a comeback for this one. Okay, in my defense, that was Oikawa's idea. He tries, before instantly wishing he could suck the words back in. That's only going to make things worse, because... The libero splutters. Oikawa knew? Yuhaba bites his lip, trying to undo the damage. He didn't know how bad it was though. So don't blame him for not doing anything about it. Watari just spits out another jumbled mess of syllables that Yuhaba doesn't have the energy to try and decipher. Does Oikawa know what happened yesterday? Kyoutani cuts in, an edge to his words. Yuhaba shakes his head, eyes dropping to his launch. No, I didn't tell anyone, except... He stops talking, eyes going wide. He was going to tell Kyoutani, But then, the text messages happened, and he lost his nerve. Kyoutani watches him patiently, waiting for the end of the sentence. Yahaba gulps. Nobody. I didn't tell anybody. Watari lets out another loud groan and Yahaba looks over at him. He's pulling at his sleeves, eyebrows furrowed, and Yahaba's heart warms to know that Watari cares so much. You know what? Okay, Yahaba, but are you okay now? What a question. Honestly, Yahaba doesn't really know. How is he supposed to know how he feels right now? Okay is a big word to sum up the bajillion emotions Yahaba's trying to process. He starts, deciding that he would just state facts and see if he could piece it all together. I'm relieved that the problem is being solved. I'm also frustrated that it had to come to this, and I'm still a little nervous. Neither Watari nor Kyoutani dares to move. Instead, they sit frozen in their spots, clinging on to every word. I am happy that I have you too, and still a little annoyed at myself for a lot of reasons. He pauses, and then sighs out I also really have to talk to Kyoutani. Without thinking. Oops, he didn't mean to. Yahaba flinches and instinctively looks at Kyoutani for a reaction, only to find that he's staring right back at him, golden eyes widening by just a fraction. A few seconds pass. Watari coughs. Should have just said so earlier, he grumbles, biting back a smirk that is in no way subtle. Yahaba feels his face start to heat up. Watari moves to stand up, and Yahaba scrambles. Wait, you don't have to. But Watari isn't having any of it. Oh no, don't worry about little old me, the perpetual third wheel. I'll just roll my way out of whatever I interrupted and you guys can have a good old chat, he rambles, packing up his lunch with finality. Yahaba's cheeks burn. Watari. He doesn't dare look at Kyoutani now. Watari jogs away quickly, and Yahaba supposes that he does appreciate how willing Watari was to give them space. But now... Holy hell, it was awkward. Yahaba shifts back into a sitting position, resolutely staring at the grass underneath him and trying to ignore Kyoutani's presence just diagonal from him. If he can't see him, he's not there, So, talk. Okay. Yahaba barely holds himself back from flinching, and he takes a deep breath. Kyoutani has a right to be on guard and cautious, he reminds himself. The things that Takashi said, they were only painful because they had a grain of truth in them. No, Yahaba isn't actually dating Kyoutani, but he doesn't actually care about you, you know. Fuck Takashi. That's not true. Yahaba curses at himself, tongue-tied. He had this conversation all planned out a few minutes ago, damn it. Kyoutani waits, ever patient. He's always patient with Yahaba when it counts, Yahaba notes glumly to himself. He doesn't deserve Kyoutani, he really doesn't. Thanks, Yahaba finds himself saying, looking up and at Kyoutani, square in the eye. He's done running away. Yahaba half-asses a lot of things, but he's not going to half-ass this gratitude. Kyoutani holds his gaze for all of 1 second before looking away. For? Standing up for me, earlier today. And, I don't know, dealing with me. Doing this whole fake dating thing in the first place. I know you didn't want anything to do with me, before. Yahaba says, simply. Kyoutani grunts, frowning and scratching at the back of his neck. I guess. It was fine. He mumbles. Yahaba raises an eyebrow. What? Kyoutani huffs. I didn't hate it, okay? Wasn't a big deal. He didn't. Hate it? What does that mean? They are friends. After all, so it's not as if Yahaba thinks that Kyoutani doesn't enjoy his company. But he had to have been annoyed at having to pretend to date Yahaba. Even if every day it started to feel more and more natural. What do you? Yahaba can't bring himself to ask, to hope, so he doesn't say anything more. Another few 10 seconds pass. There's so much more that he has to clear up, and Yahaba tries to figure out where to start, but it's hard. Does he start with when he texted Kyoutani? Or even before that, with Takashi's confrontation? Or earlier today, after eavesdropping on them? Kyoutani must have questions, right? Stop thinking so hard, I can hear you from here. Yahaba swivels his head to the side and glares. I'm thinking hard about you, you little. What did you want to tell me? Yesterday. Was it about Takashi? Kyoutani grumbles, softly. Well, guess I'll start there. Yeah. It was just. After he cornered me yesterday. I was, not doing well. Yahaba laughs, but it's more out of anxiety than anything else. Kyoutani's face darkens, and Yahaba prays that he didn't say anything wrong. And why didn't you tell me then? Ah. Yohaba gulps. He really doesn't want to say. Was helping my sister. What? Did he seriously get hurt over that? It's so petty. He was so petty, and he wasn't in his right mind, and it's embarrassing. What's he supposed to say? You sounded cold, so I got mad. He can already see Kyoutani laughing at him. Well, no, he wouldn't laugh. But still. Shigeru. Yohaba jumps at the name and his words come tumbling out. You sounded so and I felt like I couldn't gay. He throws his arms up over his face and mumbles. That made no sense. Kyoutani snorts. No, it didn't. Yohaba sighs and takes a deep breath, keeping his face hidden. Don't worry about it, okay? It's not a big deal. I was just being stupid. Kyoutani is stubborn as iron, though, so of course, he doesn't let it alone. Don't fucking do that. You're not stupid. Just tell me. I fucked up, right? Yohaba is shocked into silence at that. He said that earlier in the car, too. I fucked up. It comes out so easily, like Kyoutani has been expecting it all along, and that irritates Yohaba more than he would like to admit. You didn't fuck up, okay, I told you, it's my problem. Jesus, Shig, did I hurt you? Kyoutani chokes out. He wants to lie, but it doesn't come fast enough. Kyoutani takes his silence as an answer. If I did, then I fucked up. Just tell me what I did, so I can fix it. Yohaba groans loudly, giving in. Okay, fine. It was your text, okay? It just sounded so cold and like you didn't give a shit about what I wanted to say, so I didn't say it. That's it, and I'm a petty little shit. You happy? God fucking damn it. Kyoutani's swearing habits must be rubbing off on him, Yohaba thinks in dismay as his head comes back down into his elbows. He tenses up, waiting for the inevitable scoff, or laugh, or something, anything to confirm that he is indeed annoying and oversensitive and everything in between. Instead, he gets. You're not petty. Huh? Sorry. Huh? I'm sorry. It wasn't like that. I always want to hear what you say. I'll do better in the future. Yohaba cannot believe his ears. What? He whispers, and actually has the fleeting thought that this is a dream. Or maybe Watari has learned impressions and is doing a fantastic one of Kyoutani. But he looks up, and it definitely is Kyoutani talking, ears flaming pink and staring at his hands. Oh, Yohaba flounders to get his thoughts together over the sound of his frantic heartbeat. It's okay. I'm sorry too, for making a big deal about it. I'm fine now, really, since you did that thing earlier today with Takashi and yeah, he rambles. Yohaba likes to think that he's usually pretty eloquent. But his language skills always seem to digress a few years around Kyoutani. I literally sound like a 13-year-old, he laments internally. Kyoutani grunts in acknowledgement, and Yohaba can't help but smile a little. He feels lighter, with that load off his chest. But there's still something he needs to make sure of. You didn't believe what Takashi said, did you? Kyoutani tilts his head. It's adorable, and Yohaba pauses to remember what he was going to say next. Like, the stuff about me using you, and not caring, he struggles to say. This is mortifying. Kyoutani hums, a shadow of something passing through his eyes. You are using me, though. He says it so seriously that it stuns Yohaba for a second. Wait, no. But, he protests. Not like, that's not how I ever thought about it, and I just. Kyoutani snorts. Calm down. It was a joke. I know. You're shitty but not that shitty. Hesitating, Yohaba bites back a smile. Wow, thanks. He still feels like there's something that's unsaid, though, so the smile fades as fast as it came. The bell rings, much to Yohaba's dissatisfaction. He starts. Kyoutani looks at him. Yohaba wants to ask what happens now. Kyoutani doesn't have to pretend to date him anymore, but what changes now? It's not like they were a particularly showy couple. They never even went so far as holding hands. Does this mean that Kyoutani is going to stop sitting next to him in class? Does this mean that their captain-vice relationship is going back to what it was before, full of yelling and anger? Does this mean that he and Kyoutani are over? No, but they're still friends, right? Oikawa's words ring in his ears. Don't be like me, Haba-chan. Yohaba wants to ask. But he doesn't. Instead, he asks, are you going to the animal shelter today? Kyoutani side-eyes him. Yeah. He takes a breath, looks away. What about me? Yeah. Yahaba smiles to himself. Okay. They clean up in easy silence and split paths at the trash cans.
Woohoo, we're so close to being done, guys. There's still a little bit of pain left, but there's also a bunch of fun moments. If you enjoyed this video, comment Trashy Takashi down below. One person will be chosen, and I will dedicate the next part to you.
Okay, I think we're all sick of that voice. Is it too late to make content from other animes, guys? Like, I don't know. I just feel like Haikyuu is not really my thing anymore. I've been watching a bunch of other anime, but I don't know if they would just appeal to you guys. So let me know if they do. That's it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.